Kelly Johnson was the world's leading aircraft designer of his time, and at the time of his sighting, he was in the process of designing the U-2 spy plane for the Central Intelligence Agency. Johnson was on the ground with his wife in Agoura, California, when, unbeknownst to him, a crew of his top flight test engineers and his chief aerodynamicist were aboard a Lockheed WV-2 aircraft flying over Long Beach, and they saw the same object at the same time from a different angle. These different angles allowed researchers to triangulate the location of the object with precision. The aircraft was flying to the northwest. Kelly Johnson and his wife were looking due west. For 6 to 7 minutes, these two groups of observers saw a 200-foot-long, black, flying wing-shaped object hovering motionless over Santa Barbara Channel off the south coast of California. This object was at an altitude of roughly 15,000 feet. The aircraft flew directly towards it to see if they could get closer and get a better view. Meanwhile, Johnson started to observe the object with his binoculars, and he was able to see the object take off at high speed out over the Pacific, while his crew also observed the same thing from their different location. The object accelerated at about 130 Gs to 90 miles altitude until it disappeared. In his official report, Kelly Johnson stated, quote, "I am now more firmly convinced than ever that such devices exist, and I have some highly technical converts in this belief."
So if there's one guy who ought to know what was flying around the country at that time, it would be Kelly Johnson. And he was certainly in a position to evaluate what he was seeing. And when he talks to somebody else, another one of his trusted people, and they saw the same thing, I don't see how anybody can throw that out. We're not talking about a 2-second observation at 3 in the morning by the town drunk. We're talking about Kelly Johnson at the top of the aerospace design business.
The United States Air Force concluded that Johnson and his crew had seen a lenticular cloud. Despite the nature of the sighting, the quality of the witnesses, and the fact that the witnesses themselves specifically considered and ruled out that explanation. You would think that the government would perhaps reconsider its employment of a man who could not tell a lenticular cloud from a structured aircraft. But Kelly Johnson continued designing the most advanced and secret aircraft in the world for decades to come, none of which could move like the one he saw on December 16, 1953.